Welcome to the Acupuncture Marketing School podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Grassick, and I'm here to help you get visible in your community, take marketing action with confidence, and get more patients in your practice and more money in your pocket every week. We both know you're a talented, passionate acupuncturist and that acupuncture has the power to change lives. So let's dive right into this episode and talk about how you can reach more patients. Welcome back. In today's episode, I'm speaking with Shayna Woods, the CEO of the bookkeeping and accounting firm Prosperity First. Shayna is unique in the accounting industry because she brings a holistic view to financial strategy and business growth. She blends traditional accounting practices with mindset coaching and emphasizes joy and ease to help entrepreneurs thrive. In this episode, we talk about how mindsets can impact our progress in the real world, how to balance a respect for the numbers with an awareness of your personal needs and goals, why prioritizing yourself first as a business owner leads to greater success, how accountants often let the scarcity inherent in their training color their advice to their clients, the concept that money loves joy, and much more. I hope you enjoy this episode with Shayna. Before we jump into today's episode, let me take a moment to introduce Jane, the clinic management software and EMR that I use in my practice. Change is a normal part of clinic life. Maybe you're expanding your team, introducing new offerings, or growing your patient list. As your clinic evolves, it's important to have an EMR that not only supports those changes, but also grows with you. Jane's new Balance, Practice, and Thrive pricing options offer flexibility, allowing you to easily switch from one plan to another depending on your current or future needs. There's no long-term commitment either, just a simple month-to-month payment that lets you focus on running your clinic. And with every plan, you get features like one-on-one telehealth, email appointment reminders, and unlimited support. Visit jane.app/pricing to find a plan that fits your needs, starting at $39 a month in the US. And when you're ready to get started, you can use my code ACUSchool1MO at sign up for a 1-month grace period applied to your new account. And of course, I will put the link and the code in the show notes to make it easy for you. All right, let's get into this episode with Shayna. Hi, Shayna. How are you today?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Would you like to take a moment to introduce yourself to the audience before we dive in?
Sure. I'm Shayna Woods. I am the owner and founder of Prosperity First. We are a very unique bookkeeping and accounting firm because we bridge the soul and the science of money. We know that the more aligned you are with the energy of money, that all the tools, tactics, and strategies we have as good accountants are actually much more potent.
I would love to talk about this idea of the soul and science of money because you work a lot with business owners about their money mindset.
I do, yes.
Yeah, and I know that, well, I can really only speak for acupuncturists, but I have a feeling that it is common across a lot of different small business owners that we have a hard time accepting money, asking for money, wanting money. I know as a marketing coach, sometimes people will tell me they're afraid to do marketing because they don't want their community to think that they're greedy, that they must need money, they're doing advertising, or they must want more money. Don't they have enough? So I feel like we can't really be business owners without digging into this concept that it's not just data and information. It is certainly, but it's also the soul part that goes along with the science. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, the way you approach it.
Sure. I actually have several acupuncturists as clients. And then I have other clients that are also in, let's say, a healing industry. And there is a common thread I find with people who have these gifts. There's this subtle belief that it is greedy to want more than you have or more than you need, and that selling in general is going to make you look like a used car salesman. And what I really want your audience and my clients to understand is that money's just energy. and it's going to wear exactly the mask that we put on it. So for most people, we wear one of two masks with money. It's either the hero, someday my prince will come, and when I finally have enough money, I get to be happy, right? That's a very disempowering stance. And then the other side of the coin is it's the villain. I can't be trusted with money. People who have money aren't good people, and I am a good person. It is not spiritual or divinely ordained that I am rich, right? It's better to give than receive. Like all of those are ways we make money the villain. Money is going to do what energy does, is it's going to show up exactly what you believe it to be. So what we really want to do is get into right relationship with money. There's practical things, the numbers and having a good profit and loss and things like that. But in this case, being in right relationship with money is having a different relationship than either the hero or the villain. So I am a geek from way back. And when I started working with the energy of money, I wanted to define what that relationship looked like. And I wanted it to be a two-way street. I thought of the best relationship I could think of was the best friends in The Lord of the Rings, Samwise Gamgee and Frodo.
I love it. Yes.
And think about that. I mean, if you've seen the movie or you've read the book, there is nothing that Frodo desired that Samwise Gamgee wouldn't give his entire heart and soul into creating for him. That's what I want money to feel like, my relationship with money. I want money to show up with a silver platter offering me everything I desire and then some, with zero restrictions other than it harms no one.
Mm. Oh, I love that.
Yep.
I also love the idea that money shows up and says, "You want to do something impossible, like bring the ring to Mordor?" Like, yeah, we could totally figure that out.
Yeah, let's make it happen.
Right?
I got your back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Where do people's money mindsets come from?
Oh gosh, it could be any number of things. I'll be honest, most of us hold stories from our childhood.
Mm-hmm.
We saw our parents talking about money or fighting about money or being told we couldn't take the ballet lessons because we couldn't afford it. Or like I grew up in an area that there was definitely a class system in school. So you'd have the have and the have-nots. So you'd see that, and the have-nots would be these jerks. So of course now you think that if you're going to have money, you're going to be a jerk. Well, money being energy, it's just an amplifier. So if you are a jerk, you're gonna be a bigger jerk with money. But if you are a good, kind, compassionate, generous, courageous human being, you're gonna be all that and a bag of chips with money.
Have you read Rachel Rogers' We Should All Be Millionaires?
I have, yes.
I love that she talks about in that book this idea that if you are a resourced person, you're wealthy and you have these resources at your disposal, then that means you can do more good in your community for the things that matter to you.
Yep, 100%.
And that's what that makes me think of. You know, if you're a good person, that's only going to be amplified.
Exactly. And it takes money to have the impact we want to have on the world.
Yeah. It
Right.
really
So
does.
sometimes getting really clear about why you want the money can help put you in that right relationship.
What about this idea that sometimes it's okay to want money just to want money? I feel like we're always sort of creating these philosophical situations. Okay, well, I want my clinic to be successful for all of these very selfless reasons. And sometimes I feel like we are kidding ourselves because it's okay to just want to be financially secure
Oh,
and
absolutely.
do nice things and not worry about it. And we don't have to wrap it up in some bow where we're saying, well, I don't really want that money. I just want it so that, you know, I can do X, Y, Z. But like, what if I just want money? What if I just want to be wealthy? Because then I don't have to worry, etc.
Great. Fantastic.
I always think that's fine, but it's really hard or impossible sometimes for people to feel.
And that's because there's those stories, right? There's all the ways that not just in our family, but in our ancestry, we've been we've been taught that to be good and spiritual, you have to suffer.
Right.
Or you have to work really, really hard in order to deserve, at this point, the bare minimum.
Mm.
What if instead the universe wants you to have everything that you desire and that you deserve it simply because you exist?
So
What?
hard for people. Even listening to that, I'm like, I want that to be true.
Yeah. Oh, it's true. You wanting it to be true or not doesn't change the fact that that actually
Mm.
is how the universe wants. The universe is limitless, infinite abundance. We're the ones that say how big our pocketbooks are, how much we're willing to receive. And you get to receive an unlimited amount. Yes, you're going to have to show up and do some work, but it doesn't have to be hard, particularly when you're doing it in a way that is aligned to your soul. And the thing that I think that most business owners, and I know my acupuncturists have definitely fallen into this trap, so I know your acupuncturists have fallen into this trap, is they are here to serve the business so that the business can serve the community.
Exactly.
My business name is Prosperity First, and the word first is equally, if not more so important than the word prosperity in that title. Everything, your gifts, the universe, the energy the universe wants to pour into you, whatever cosmic downloads you get, the profit in your business, everything is here for you first. And when you allow yourself to be poured into so deeply, you actually get to give and grow and impact the world from overflow. We all know the cliche, you can't pour from an empty cup. And it's true. And most of society and every acupuncturist I've ever met pours into their cup and then pours out into the world. And then pours a little bit more into their cup and pours it out into the world.
Yeah.
The image I want you to hold is your cup. And the world is just pouring in, the world, the universe, your family, your friends, your business are pouring into your cup and pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring until it overflows. If you think of the image of a champagne fountain,
Mm-hmm.
right? When you pour into that top champagne glass, it just, the beautiful champagne cascades in every direction. But if we instead pour into the second layer instead of to ourselves first, think about all the glasses, all the cups, all the impact we're not having. Yeah.
So you mentioned that one mindset that people often have is that they have to work really hard
Mm-hmm.
to make money or even just to get by or to have an impact.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like feels like a little bit of martyrdom sometimes. We have to suffer in order to serve, as you said.
Exactly.
And how do you coach people through that? Because I do think that is so common for all of the wellness people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So one of my favorite questions to ask, and this was a question that was gifted to me by a coach that I worked with for many years, is what if it gets to be easy? Just the what if game, that's what I call it. You get to bring some playfulness energy, some creative energy. And what if it just gets to be easy? How would I show up? What would I do if it gets to be easy? Right? And there's an allowing that we have to do to allow it to be easy, because we do make things harder for ourselves because of the belief that we have to work hard, we have to suffer in order to deserve whatever it is that we desire. How sad would that be if that's the way the universe actually wanted to show up to us? I think it's breaking the universe's heart that this is the way that we're treating ourselves.
And do you feel like when people show up as themselves, as they truly are,
Mhm.
that that's part of what makes it easy? So they could really lean into that.
Absolutely. One of the things that I do with my clients is I do these beautiful in-depth money design readings
Hmm.
using astrology, using human design, and then just 30 years of being a business owner. And I help them. The report, when you receive it, is actually titled The Ultimate Permission Slip.
Nice.
Because the permission slip that you're receiving is to bring more of you to more of your life.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So the more aligned you are with who you are, and that is like the boldest, most audacious thing that a person can be these days, is themselves.
Mm.
Unapologetically, genuinely, without agenda. Just be themselves. When you show up to your work and your business that way, when you show up to your clients that way, you create a very loyal community around yourself. The work does get to become easier because you give yourself permission to find new ways of doing things. So I've been in business for 30 years, and the first 10, 12 years, I was the stereotypical accountant. Now, I don't know if this podcast is going to be visual or not. So if you're just listening to it, I have pink and purple hair. I have a full
Super
sleeve
cool.
tattoo. You are not going to meet me in a grocery store and think, that's an accountant. But for the first 10 years, I was. And I worked the way I was told that to be a successful accountant, you had to work, which was 80 and 100-hour weeks. And I destroyed my body to the degree that there was a 2-year period where I could barely walk. I had 3 heart attacks before I was 29. And all of it was because I was not aligned with who I was, and I was working in a way that was contradictory to my energy. Now, your audience are acupuncturists. They understand energy better than most. I mean, the work that they do actually helps energy flow better in the body. So I find it's actually not a leap for them to go, oh, I can shift my energy around money and then money gets to flow better. Yes, sign me up.
Yes. Yep. Yep. I do really love that concept that just leaning into who you really are will allow you to think about creative new ways of doing things. That makes me think of, unburdening yourself in
Mhm.
some capacity. So then you show up at work happier.
Yeah.
And, patients can feel that. Everyone that we're interacting with, on some level, they know whether or not we want to be there or whether or not we're having a good day,
Yep.
whether or not we're frustrated with our business.
Hmm.
And maybe they don't know that immediately, right? But over time.
I'm
And
going to disagree with you if you don't mind. I
yeah,
think we do
absolutely.
know it immediately. Our energy precedes us. It's in the
Mhm.
room before we are. There's a feeling when something is off. Now, not everybody is so in tune with it. They may choose to ignore those feelings, but you help your clients with marketing, right? That's the title of your podcast.
Yeah.
So, isn't it interesting that when we're really excited and let's say we create a social media post that like it was creative and juicy and everything about it felt right, and we just put it out into the world and it's super engaged. Then, oh, that worked. So then we're like, now we got to recreate it. And we're going to create a system, and we're going to make ourselves sit down every day and do this. And now it's a chore.
Yep.
But we're doing it, and like verbally, or if you just read the words, they're identical. They look the same. But for whatever reason, this other post just doesn't do as well. And it's because our energy is attached to that post and it precedes us into the world. So it doesn't matter sometimes how good the content is. If our energy isn't aligned to it, if we feel uncomfortable raising our prices and putting a notice out there that we're raising our prices, then people are going to be like, oh, there's something off here. I'm not going to continue with this person. And it's not really because they can't afford you. It's because they're feeling the energy that you don't feel good about your pricing.
Yeah. If we feel cringy
Mm-hmm.
about it, they feel cringy.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I do think there is an immediate impact of our energy, and it can be cumulative so that down the road it is actually more impactful, or whether impactful for good or not. But I do believe it is an immediate response.
Yeah, I know sometimes I'll have new patients and I'll feel like that went fine with a question mark, but it's really just that for whatever reason our energy isn't a good fit.
Yep.
And they'll make an appointment to come back, but then I sort of know they're probably not coming back. Even though it was good and they felt better, sometimes it's easier to categorize it as it's not a good personality match,
Mm-hmm.
but you also can just tell if the energy is not lined up.
Yep.
And I'm sometimes my students will ask me, because we'll talk about mindset, because it's important in marketing. I could teach marketing strategy until I'm blue in the face, but if someone really is not in the headspace where they think it's going to help and that they can actually do it
Yep.
and learn it, it doesn't matter what I teach. But they also often want to know mindset is like a buzzword, or it feels for some people it's woo woo. How does it impact me in my everyday life? And the best example I can give them is that it shows up in your energy. If
Mhm.
you believe I can't learn marketing, I'll never be good at this,
Then you won't
then
learn.
that is going to come right. Yeah,
Yep.
that's going to come through. But I am wondering how do you talk about that with people? How is this cerebral and energetic thing having this physical impact in the world? Or maybe it's obvious and I'm trying too hard to define it. I think it's fascinating.
Well, I don't tend to talk about the world in general, globally, because most of my people, and I suspect yours, their world is fairly tightly contained.
Mm,
It's them, their family, their community, or them, their family, their patients, right?
yeah.
That's the world. And when we stop trying to make the world, the entire world, our responsibility, we actually have more juice to pour into our world. And just like pouring into our cup first, once we're pouring into our cup first, and then we're pouring into our world from that state of overflow, when we start overflowing from our world, we do actually create ripples that make the world a better place. But most people don't have the vision. And this isn't a pejorative. This is not a bad thing. But their vision doesn't naturally encompass the entire planet.
Fair.
Mine doesn't. So first of all, I am constantly checking, and this is the best way I've found to actually help people start making these mindset shifts. I start checking their language. I can't learn marketing. You're right, you absolutely can't if that's what you believe. I don't want to learn marketing, but I'm willing to because I know that it's important for my business. That's a completely different energy. You can feel the same way, but just say two different things and the energy will react differently. It's part of the beauty of quantum physics.
Yeah.
It's the observer effect. I'm scared. Okay, that that can be true, but is it fear trying to keep you small and hold you back, or is it actually this energy of excitement and the unexpected? So I always look, can I change the word, anything that's fear based, to excitement?
They do
um,
feel awfully similar in the body, don't they?
there aren't they? I mean,
They're the
it's
same.
adrenaline, it's the same chemical reaction.
Yes.
But what we believe about that chemical reaction has more to do with its impact on us. A book that I read called The Upside of Stress by Kelly McGonigal. She has a wonderful TED Talk, and the book is brilliant. Talks about how our belief around what these chemicals, cortisol, dopamine, all those different, stress hormones, um, what they're doing to our bodies, what our belief about what they're doing to our bodies has a greater impact on what it actually does to our body than what the chemical does.
Well, that
Uh,
does not surprise me.
yeah. So when you can experience, and your acupuncturists know this, when you can shift something in the energy, it changes the impact. So if our belief system is just energy, it's a way of engaging with energy, it becomes truly beneficial to check ourselves on what we believe and how we state it. We put ceilings on ourselves with the words that we use. We do it with goal setting. This is a fun one. You set a goal for your business. I want $100,000 for whatever reason. That's the number. Great. You want to have $100,000. Fantastic. You focus on that $100,000 to such a degree that you might not notice that at $70,000, you actually had the ease that you wanted, the money in the bank that you needed, but you're so focused on getting that 100, you work really hard and you completely miss the ease that was given to you. Or the ease and the things that we desired, why we wanted that $100,000 in the first place, might actually come to us at 120. 100,000 might not actually be enough. It's just a number, but we've capped ourselves. We're going to reach that 100. And when we get to that 100, we're like, ah, I did it. Whew, I'm done. So with my clients, I have them set goals by yes, a number is important. We need a target to hit. But we say it this way: I'm working towards $100,000 or better.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah. And it's not or more. Because it's not really about the money. It's what do we want the money for? What ease will it bring into our lives? What impact does it allow us to have? So the or better gives space, leaves space for the universe to give us what is actually in our highest and best.
When you are working with people,
Mm-hmm.
you're going through all of these layers with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then are you also doing the practical side? You're still an accountant, so you are doing the soul and the science. Well, I'm so curious how that blends together, because I know on your website you talk about respect for the data, that we need the information.
Yep.
But I would love to know what that looks like with your clients.
I had a client recently. So all emotions are welcome in my world because money is an emotional topic. I want people to show up where they're at. If they are excited, great. If they are feeling shame or lack, great. We need to know what the emotion is so that we can transform it. So I had a client recently reach out to me because they feel like they're on the struggle bus, that every penny that they have coming in is going right back out, right? But feelings aren't facts. They're valid. They're absolutely valid, but they're not facts. So we give space to have the emotion because all emotions are here to do something. In my opinion, they're all here to heal, but we have to allow ourselves to feel them for them to do their healing work.
Yeah.
And then I held space for that. I let them vent. I gave them, because they asked for, right? I don't try and fix people, but if they ask for advice, I will give it. So I gave them a few pieces of advice. And then I said, let's hop on my schedule and we're going to go over your numbers. Let's combat these feelings or fight these feelings with facts. Because she's actually doing way better than she knows. The books clearly show a 40% increase over the previous year. And not just in top line revenue, which is important, but it's almost a vanity metric, but bottom line profit. Like, she's doing better. She needs to see it, right? I need to remind her that she got a raise. She is taking home more money than she ever has before. And that's the practical side of engaging with your money, is looking at what does the data tell me? The data is going to tell you, are you charging enough? Are you spending money in places you don't necessarily need? Now, I don't teach budgeting in the way, again, a typical accountant does. It's not all about slashing everything so that you can hoard money. I help my clients build a decision-making tree around their spending so that they can make an aligned decision as to where their money's going. And when you do that, the chaff, the excess that you don't need, but we're convinced by really good marketers or bro marketing or FOMO or things, or you've just evolved and you no longer need it, get to fall away. And then every penny that does fall to that bottom line, you get to recognize as the business owner, that's actually yours. And let's set up a system so that come tax time, when your tax preparer says, congratulations, you made $40,000, you're not going, but I don't have $40,000, which is
Yeah,
most
like where did
people's
it go?
experience, right?
Yeah.
I don't have $40,000. What are you talking about?
How's
I
that?
made $40,000. Right? That's most people's experience of business
Yeah.
is, oh, I made money and I have to pay taxes, but I don't have any money for taxes and I don't have this profit set aside. What the hell?
Yeah. How nice to have a professional be able to go through your books with you.
Mhm.
And I mean, part of it is a lot of people are just afraid to evaluate their numbers because even if they are doing well, they're scared to see if they are not. I feel like, gosh, everybody deserves exactly what you're describing, right? Because a lot of times we think of an accountant and they're not gonna listen to our like deep stress. If we have something specific we need to tell them that is relevant to the data, then we would expect to be able to tell them that. But to be able to vent
Mhm.
and sort of show up with those emotions like as a real person, I think is not what we think of an accountant. But to be able to have that and to have the practical side of it with someone who goes through those numbers with you is
Yeah.
really, really nice.
Unfortunately, my industry as a whole, one, they're very focused on the past, right? It's
Mm,
compliance basis. It's taking past information, putting it in a form so that the IRS doesn't come after you. Great.
yes.
It is an important function, but that is where most accountants stop. And then
Mm,
most bookkeepers are simply data entry clerks,
gotcha.
right? They're not what I like to say about myself and my bookkeepers, the ones I've trained. We are
Mhm.
thoughtful, conscious, and aware, right? We look at every transaction and analyze it to make sure that it's going in the right place, that it is aligned with your business. And then when we see things that are profit opportunities, we point them out. When we see cash leaks, we point them out. We don't just enter the data and then trust that it's right. Too often people are using the AI features in the different platforms. QuickBooks, for example. It's the industry standard. I love QuickBooks. I've been using it since it was a DOS-based program. But the online version automatically downloads your transactions and puts them someplace. Well, this is funny. I had an acupuncturist who came to me. The books were a little messy and she wanted to get them straight and just she was wanting to up level her data, which great. Love that. Let's do it. And of course, she didn't actually understand how much she was making or where she was spending her money because QuickBooks was dumping almost every transaction she was making into office supplies.
Interesting.
So an acupuncturist had $40,000 in office supplies. And like
A lot of pens.
without even looking at anything else, I knew that this was wrong because I take a look at the business. Oh, yeah, this isn't the type of business that would have that kind of volume in office supplies.
I feel like this is such a good opportunity to remind everybody listening that none of us have to do this by ourselves, that we can ask for help, that there are all different kinds of professionals out there who can meet us where we're at and help
Mhm.
us with specific things, whether it is, ongoing bookkeeping or help with projects. But yeah, if thinking about your books, your profit and loss makes you feel sick to your stomach, please just find someone to ask for help. It doesn't have to be either of us.
No,
Just find someone, right? Someone in your community, a family member, someone who'll sit down with you and go through the nitty-gritty because you definitely don't deserve to feel that sick, yucky feeling. I have been there before, and it is the worst to
it
think
is.
about your money that way and to be afraid to open the books and be like, now I have to sort through this. I don't remember what this receipt was even for. But just don't do it by yourself.
Agreed. Absolutely. And I'm going to say, don't settle for somebody who makes you feel bad about your books either.
Mm,
Um, I story after story of clients coming to me and telling me that their last bookkeeper or their last accountant made them feel so ashamed or judged for how they were spending their money and what they were doing. Would leave them in tears. And I'm not even exaggerating. You've been to my website. I have an apology on behalf of the entire accounting industry.
I saw it. I did.
Because it is so common. Yeah. So don't settle for somebody that makes you feel bad about yourself. Like, I want you, when you're listening to this, no matter the state of your books, no matter how much profitability or not you have in your business, I want you to celebrate. Everything you did got you to right here today. You're still in business. Yeah. You're still in business. So even if you didn't know what you didn't know, or something wasn't done exactly right, I'm using air quotations for those that can't see me, because I sneer on that a little bit. You did it. You got here. And that is worth celebrating.
I love that. And that actually brings me to a question that I had for you, because you talk about how money loves joy. I'd love to hear more about that.
Oh. So joy is a very attractive energy. I mean, when we're in a state of joy, people are attracted to us, clients are attracted to us, and the energy of money is attracted to us. Now, one of the things that we also need to recognize is that joy is only found in the present moment. So if we're sitting kicking ourselves about whatever happened in the past, we're not in a state of joy. And if we're so entirely focused on the future, we're not in a state of joy. So I like to sum up my definition of prosperity. So the long version is unapologetically asking for and allowing yourself to receive everything you desire and then some. That's prosperity, right? Or summed up in 4 words, thank you, more please.
I love it.
So the thank you is that joy. It's that utter gratitude in the present moment. I actually have a ritual that I do with my clients, and I recommend they come up with their own similar ritual. When anybody pays me, it does not matter the amount. When they pay me, I hit shuffle on a massive musical library that I have, and whatever song plays, I sit in complete gratitude for that money coming in. And that's 3 or 4 minutes of just sitting in sheer joy.
Celebration.
Yes. And then I send that song to my client and tell them how I just celebrated the hell out of them with that song.
So nice.
Yeah. So have you read any Abraham Hicks?
I don't think I have. I've heard of him so much. Yeah.
It's some juicy work. So a woman, Esther Hicks, channels a cosmic energy, and she's named him, or he's named himself, Abraham. One of the things that she channeled was this idea that whenever we can sit in the feeling of having what we desire, whatever that feeling is going to, like, how peaceful you would feel living in your dream home, how amazing it would feel to pay off all your debt, how good it feels when somebody pays you, whatever that feeling is. For me, my defining feeling is joy. If we can sit in that feeling of having whatever it is we desire, even when it's not here yet, for a minimum, I should say, of 32 seconds, we naturally become attractive to that energy that's going to bring us that thing, that peace, whatever it is. And then for every 8 seconds thereafter, we collapse time on how quickly we are attracting that thing. Well,
I've definitely heard this before.
Yeah. Well, most songs are 3 to 4 minutes. I collapse time like crazy.
I was going to say, that's plenty of time.
Yeah.
I think that is taught in a number of ways, right? Not just in regards to money, but the idea of if you are grateful for what you have now, the universe will give you more.
Yep.
Aligning your energy with that, I think that's a really beautiful thing. I do have one more question for you before we sign off, and that is, what is your definition of success?
My definition of success. That's a great question. I tend to use success and prosperity interchangeably, so I'm trying to see if that's still holding true, because I just gave you my definition of prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there is another level. So it is me being prosperous. So having everything I desire simply because I desire it and it harms no one, and having the impact I know I'm here to have.
Amazing.
That's
And I love adding that section about as long as it harms no one.
Mhm.
Because people are, that's a concern, right?
Yep.
Um, yeah, I love that. I think I'm going to start using that. Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing all of these concepts with us. I hope that everyone goes out and finds someone to help them with their books who makes them feel really good about it. How can people get in touch with you? Where can they find you online? If they wanted to work with you, how would they get started?
Yeah. Well, first, my website is prosperityfirst.com. Please come to it if it resonates with you, because energetically it is aligned. Then hop on my schedule. There's a link. We can chat. We can just see where you're at and see if I'm the right person to help you. I would love to see that. But I also, what I want to do is really invite everybody to my Substack. It's Substack at Shayna's World. And there's a whole story about Shayna's World, which I know we're at time, so I won't go into, but you will learn about it in my Substack, Shayna's World. But it is a place of, it's an oasis. It's a place of respite. And it's a place for you to come, gain some tools, some insights, some mindset shifts, some new energy that you get to take back to create your own world.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you. This has been so much fun.
Agreed. We will have to do this again.
Yes. Just yes.
Are your patient numbers lower than you'd like, or is your practice growing slower than you'd hoped, but you're not sure why? My Marketing Breakthrough Session gives you a personalized expert review of your marketing with clear, actionable steps to attract more patients. You'll get a custom 30-minute video with tailored advice delivered in just 3 days. Sign up today for only $49. That's right, only $49. The link is in the show notes. I would absolutely love to help you with your marketing. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time.